Hello everyone, here is Afra Siab. Today we are going to solve Cambridge IGCSE Physics Paper 2 Multiple Choice Extended, held on May-June 2021 and paper code is 0625 with variant 22. So let's start from question number 1. Question number 1. Which piece of apparatus is the most suitable for measuring the mass of the pencil sharpener? So which one of the following is most suitable? A. Digital balance, B. Measuring balance, C. Newton meter and D. Ruler. So ruler is basically used for the measurement of length. So it is incorrect. Newton meter is a unit. It is not apparatus. So it is also incorrect. Measuring cylinder is used for the measurement of volume, not the mass. So it is also incorrect. Option A is correct. Digital balance, which is used for the measurement of the mass. Question number 2. 4 balls with the different masses are dropped from the height shown. Air resistance may be ignored. Which ball has the smallest average speed? So here which one of the following ball has the smallest average speed? 4 balls are given, A, B, C and D. We can see here that the balls are dropped from the certain height. So loss in potential energy is equal to gain in kinetic energy, because when they hit the ground, their potential energy is equal to 0. So I write here loss in potential energy is equal to gain in kinetic energy. Potential energy is mgh and kinetic energy is half mv square. So this m cancels by this and v square will be equal to 2gh, where v is equal to square root 2gh. This is the formula for calculating the speed. So first of all I calculate speed for the ball A. VA will be equal to 2 multiplied by 10 and height is 1.0, which is given here. So I put here 1.0. VA will be equal to 4.47 meter per second. So VB will be equal to 2 multiplied by 10 and 2.0. VB will be equal to 6.32 meter per second. For ball 3, speed will be VC 2 multiplied by 10 and height is 3.0. So VC will be equal to 7.74 meter per second. For ball D, I write here VD is equal to square root 2 multiplied by 10 and height is 4.0. So VD will be equal to 8.94 meter per second. Now we see all of these average speed and observe that the speed of the ball A is the smallest as compared to ball B, C and D. So VA is equal to 4.47 meter per second. So it's a ball A for which the average speed has the smallest value. Question number 3. A ball is thrown vertically upwards through the air. Air resistance acts on the ball. So here we don't ignore the air resistance, which graph shows how its speed varies with time. So how the speed varies with the time. So first of all, when the ball is thrown upward, then its velocity goes on decreasing and at the top point, its value is 0, and when it comes back towards the earth, its value goes on increasing. So option A here is incorrect. B is also incorrect because we have to consider the effect of air resistance. So it is also incorrect. Option C is correct, which shows that first of all, the speed of the ball decreases and then it becomes equal to 0 at this point and then again increases. Question number 4. What is the best description of the meaning of the mass of an object? A. The space occupied by the object. This is actually the matter. B. The force that gravity exerts on the object. This is weight, not the mass. C. The resistance of the object to change its motion. So this is correct because mass is actually the resistance of the object to change in motion. D. The closeness of the packing of the molecules in the object. So it is also incorrect. Option C is correct here. Question number 5. A measuring cylinder contains 40 cubic centimeter of water. So here volume is given, which is 40 cubic centimeter. A stone of mass 94 gram is lowered into the water so that it is fully submerged as shown. First of all, we have measuring cylinder and its volume is 40 cubic centimeter when it is filled with the water. Then we drop a stone in it and its volume changes, which is given by the second figure here. So we can see from here that the level of water reaches at this point and it is 76 cubic centimeter. Next, the mass is given, which is 94 gram. I write here mass is equal to 94 gram and we have to find out the volume of the stone here. What is the density of the stone? So in order to calculate the density of the stone, we also have to find out the volume of the stone. So this volume, that is 75 cubic centimeter, it is a combined volume of the water and stone. So I write here the volume of stone will be equal to the volume of the water and stone, which is 76 cubic centimeter, minus the volume of the measuring cylinder that is filled with water. So it will be 40. It is equal to 36 cubic centimeter. So this is the volume of the stone. Next we have to find out density. So density will be equal to mass per unit volume. Mass is given 94 divided by volume is 36. So that the value of density will be equal to 2.6 gram per cubic centimeter. So here option D is correct, which shows the density of the stone. Next, question number 6. So here is the graph that is shown in 6. The extension load graph for a spring is shown. The unstressed length of the spring is 17.0 centimeter. Here is the graph and extension is measured in centimeter while the load is measured in Newton. When an object is suspended from the spring, the length of the spring is 19.2 centimeter. What is the weight of the object? So here we have to find out the weight of object. So here first of all I use the Hooke's law that F is equal to Kx, where F is the load, K is Hooke's constant or spring constant and X is extension. In order to find out the weight, we have to know the value of the spring constant and extension. So the spring constant is actually found out by this graph. First of all, I find out the slope of this graph. So slope will be equal to, I take any 2 points here. First point I take here and the second point at this. So then I join these points with the x and y axis. Now at this point find out the value of the extension and load. Here load is 2 while the value of extension is 1.5. So I write here 1.5 and 2, and this point is at 2.9 and 4. So I find out the slope 2.9 minus 1.5 divided by 4 minus 2. It will be equal to 0.7 and unit is centimeter over Newton. But from here we can see that K is equal to F over X and its unit is Newton over centimeter, not centimeter over Newton. So I just take the reciprocal of the slope to find out the value of the spring constant. So I write here K is equal to 1 over 0.7. So K will be equal to 1.42. And no unit is Newton per centimeter. We have used this value of K, and then we also have to find out the value of extension. First of all, the unstretched length is given, which is 17.0 centimeter, and when the object is suspended, the length increases and it becomes 19.2 meter per second. So extension will be the difference of both of these lengths. It will be equal to 19.2 minus 17, which is equal to 2.2 centimeter. So the value of F will be equal to Kx. Here we calculate the value of K. It will be equal to 1.4286 multiplied by 2.2. So that the value of F will be equal to 3.0 Newton. So this weight is actually equal to the value of load or force. So here D option is correct. Going towards the next part, question number 7. A satellite orbits the Earth in an anti-clockwise direction at constant speed as shown. When the satellite is in position shown, in which direction does the resultant force act upon it? So here we can see that the satellite is moving into the circular path. So when the satellite moves into the circular path, there is a force that is acting towards the center. So here the force will be in this direction towards the Earth. So here D option is correct. Question number 8. A tennis ball has a mass of 57 gram. A tennis player hits the tennis ball with a tennis racket. The tennis ball has a velocity of 25 meters per second when it hits the racket. The velocity of the tennis ball when it leaves the player's racket is 15 meters per second in the opposite direction from its approach direction. The average force exerted by the tennis racket on the ball is 35 Newton. For how long is the tennis ball in contact with the tennis racket? So here we have to find out the value of time. For that we can see that mass, initial and final velocity and force is given. So I use here the concept of impulse, that impulse is equal to change of momentum. I write here impulse is equal to delta P, and it is also the product of force and time. From here time will be equal to change of momentum over force. It will be m multiplied by v minus u over f. So I use here this formula to find out the time. Now I am going to put values here. Time will be equal to, mass is given 57 gram and we have to convert this mass into gram. So it will be 57 divided by 1000, which is equal to 0.057. So here I write 0.057 multiplied by v, which is the final velocity, 15 meter per second, minus initial velocity is 25, but after the collision direction is opposite, so I write here minus 25. divided by force which is 35. So T will be equal to 0.057 multiplied by 40 divided by 35. So time will be equal to 0.065 seconds. So here C option is correct. Question number 9. This question is about 4 methods used to produce electrical energy. Which method has the correct description? Here is methods. Energy source is renewable, emits carbon dioxide. Option A is hydroelectric power station. It's a renewable, yes, and no emission of carbon dioxide. So this option is correct. Option A. Option B, a coal-fired power station. Energy source is renewable, not, and emit carbon dioxide, no. So it is incorrect. Option C, a wind turbine, no and yes. So it is also incorrect, and D is a nuclear power station. Energy source is renewable, yes, and emit carbon dioxide, yes. So it is also incorrect. Only option A is correct. Question number 10. A stone is released from rest from a high building on earth. Air resistance is negligible. What is the velocity when it has fallen 5 meters? So here, first of all, it is at rest, means that its initial velocity is equal to 0. And we have find out the final velocity when it has fallen 5 meters. So first of all, here we use the equation of motion. I write here v square is equal to u square plus 2gs. So v square will be equal to u is equal to 0. So 0 plus 2 multiplied by 10, and as this distance which is 5 meters. So v square will be equal to 100 and v is 10. Unit is meter per second. So here B option is correct, which is 10 meter per second. Question number 11. The power input to an electric motor is 400 watt. The efficiency of the motor is 85%. How much power is wasted? So here efficiency is given and input power is also given. First of all, we find out the output power and then find that how much power is wasted. So I write here efficiency is equal to power output over power input. So here we have to find out power output. It will be equal to power input is given, which is 400, multiplied by efficiency is 85%. So I write here 85 divided by 100. It becomes as 340 watt. So this power is actually the useful power. Total input power is 400 watt and we have to find out the power which is wasted. So I write here total power will be equal to power output plus power wasted. So it will be equal to 400 and 340 plus power wasted. So it will be 60 watt. It means that 60 watt power is wasted here. So option A is correct. Question number 12. A book has a mass of 400 gram. The surface of the book in contact with the table has a dimension of 0.10 meter cross 0.20 meter. The gravitational field strength G is 10 Newton per kilogram. What is the pressure exerted on the table due to book? So here we have to find out the value of pressure. We know that pressure is equal to force over area. Here force is not given. So I write here force is the product of mass and gravitational field strength divided by area. It will be equal to mass is 400 gram and we have to convert this into kilogram. So I write here 400 divided by 1000 kilogram, and it is equal to 0.4 kilogram. So I write here 0.4 multiplied by 10 divided by area 0.10 multiplied by 0.20. So pressure will be equal to 200, unit is Newton per meter square. So here D option is correct, which is 200 Newton per meter square. Question number 13. A horizontal metal plate of area 0.50 meter square lies at bottom of the lake at a depth of 40 meter. The density of water is 1000 kg per meter cube and the gravitational field strength is 10 Newton per kilogram. What is the downward force acting on the plate due to the water? So here we have to find out the downward force. So the pressure at any depth is equal to rho GH, and we have to find out the force. So pressure also equal to force over area. By comparing both of these equations, F over A will be equal to rho GH. So force will be equal to rho GH and area. Now I am going to put values here. The value of density is 1000 kg per meter cube. It is given here. Multiply by G, 10 multiply by depth, which is given 40 meter, and area 0.50. So the value of force will be equal to we can also write it as 200 multiplied by 10 की power 3 Newton, which is 200 kilonewton. So this is the value of force. We can see here that option C is correct, 200 kilonewton. Question number 14. Which law describes the forces between the molecules and the motion of the molecules in gas? So here forces between the molecules and motion of molecules are shown in table. Option A, strong move freely. Option A, strong move freely. So the gas molecules are moving freely and the forces between them are not very strong. So this option is incorrect because the forces are weak. Option B, strong and vibrate only. So it is also incorrect because the gas molecules move freely. Option C, weak and move freely. So it is correct. Option D is weak and vibrate only, so they do not vibrate, so it is also incorrect. Question number 15. Very small pollen grains are suspended in water. A bright light shines from the side. When looked through a microscope, small specks of the light are seen to be moving in random jerky manner. Here is a figure. We can see that there are the pollen grains in water, and the bright light falls on them and the motion is observed through the microscope. What are the moving specks of light? MCQs. A, pollen grains being hit by other pollen grains. B, pollen grains being hit by water molecules. So it is also incorrect. C, pollen grains being hit by water molecules. So this is correct because there is pollen grains in water. So the pollen grains being hit by the water molecules, it is correct. Question number 16. A hole is drilled in a metal plate. What happens to the length of the plate and to the diameter of the hole when the plate is cooled? So here the temperature of the plate is lower because it is cooled. We know that when we heat up the object or increase its temperature, there will be expansion. So when there is cooling, there will be contraction. It means that the length and diameter decreases. So length of the plate is shown here and also the diameter. MCQs. A, decrease and decrease. Both of these decreases. MCQs B, decrease and increase, which is not possible. C, increase and decrease, it is also not possible. And D is increase and increase. They increase only when the temperature is higher. So here option A is correct. Question number 17. Which statement describe a sensitive Question number 17. Which statement describes a sensitive liquid in glass thermometer? A. A thermometer which can be used to measure very high and very low values of the temperature. So it is incorrect. B. A thermometer which gives the same increase in length of the liquid column for each degree of the temperature rise. It is also incorrect. A thermometer which is accurate because it has been calibrated. All the thermometers are calibrated. All the thermometers are calibrated. So this is also incorrect. Option D. A thermometer which gives a large increase in the length of the liquid column for each degree of temperature rise. So this is correct. Option D. Question number 18. A block of aluminium of mass 2.0 kg has an initial temperature of 20 degrees C. It absorbs 7300 joule of the thermal energy. The specific heat capacity of the aluminium is 913 joule per kilogram per degree C. What is the final temperature of the aluminium block? So here we have to find out the final temperature. Here I use that energy is equal to mc delta T, where m is mass and C is specific heat capacity. Delta T is change in temperature. So I write also is equal to mc Tf minus Ti, where Tf is the final temperature and Ti is the initial temperature. We have to find out the value of final temperature. So energy is given, which is 7300. It will be equal to mass 2.0 and C is 913. Tf minus initial temperature is 20. So it will be equal to Tf minus 20 is equal to 3.99. So Tf will be equal to 20 plus 3.99, which is 23.99 degrees C, and it is also equal to 24 degrees C. It means that option C is correct. Question number 19. A student sets up 4 cans. Each can contains the same mass of water at 90 degrees C. So the temperature of each can is same. The cans are identical except for outside surfaces. Which can will cool down the faster? So which of the following will cool the faster? Whose temperature is smaller? A. Dull black surface. B. Dull white surface. C. Shiny black surface. D. Shiny white surface. So dull black surface will cool faster because a good absorber is also the good reflector. So here option A is correct. Question number 20. Thermal energy is transferred by conduction in a metal bar. Which statement is not correct? A. Fast vibrating ions leave the surface. So here we have to circle out the incorrect statement, which is A, because the fast vibrating ions cannot leave the surface. So it is incorrect. We also see the other possibilities, that free moving electrons carry thermal energy through the bar. It is correct. Ions vibrate and strike neighboring ions to make them vibrate. It is also incorrect. And ions vibrate but do not change their position. It is also correct statement. Question number 21. A water wave passes into a region where the wave travels more slowly. as it passes into the slow region, what happens to the frequency and what happens to the wavelength of the wave? So what will be the effect on frequency and wavelength of the wave when the water wave changes its medium and goes into the medium where it travels more slowly? So first of all, when the wave changes its medium, it means that there is a process of refraction. So when it enters into the medium where it is slower, it means that its speed decreases. So speed decreases but the number of wavefronts remains same, means that frequency is same. And by the wave equation, V is equal to F lambda. If the frequency is same and speed is decreasing, then the wavelength also decrease. Because if the frequency is constant, then speed is directly proportional to wavelength. So in this case, the frequency is same, but the wavelength decreases. Option A, decreases, remains the same. B, increases, remains the same. C, remains the same, decrease. So here option C is correct. Question number 22. Light traveling at a speed of 3.0 into 10 to the power 8 meter per second strikes the surface of the glass block and undergoes refraction as it enters the block. The diagram shows a ray of this light before and after it enters the block. So here is the ray of light and it is striking on the boundary of glass block and there is the process of refraction. What is the speed of the light in the glass? So here we have to find out the speed of light in glass. First of all, we can see here that the angle of incidence is given, which is 55 degree, while the angle of refraction is 33 degrees. So here I use the Snell's law that n1 sine theta 1 is equal to n2 sine theta 2. Where the first term, that is n1 sine theta 1, this is basically for the air, while the second term is for glass. The refractive index of the air is 1, so I write here 1, and sine theta 1 is actually the angle of incidence, which is 55 degrees. It will be equal to n2, that is the refractive index of glass. We have to find out its value. So n2 and sine theta 2, it will be sine 33 degree because theta 2 is the angle of refraction. So n2 will be equal to sine 55 degree over sine 33 degree. So that the value of refractive index for the glass comes to be 1.5. Next we have to find out the speed of light. We know that refractive index is the ratio of C over V, where C is the speed of light in air while V is the speed of light in any medium. Here glass is medium, so it's the speed of light in glass. So here V will be equal to C over N2 because we use N2 for the glass. So V is equal to C, that is 3.0 into 10 to the power 8 meter per second, divided by n2 is 1.5, so that the value of V will be equal to 2.0 into 10 to the power 8 meter per second. So here option A is 1.8 into 10 to the power 8 meter per second, B 2.0 into 10 to the power 8 meter per second. So our value is also 2.0 in 10 to the power 8 meter per second. So here option B is correct. Question number 23. Which statement about the image of the object formed in a plane mirror is correct? So here plane mirror is used. MCQs A. It is smaller than the object. It means that the size of image is smaller than the object. B. It is same size as the object. C. It is larger than the object. And D. It is inverted. So the plane mirror always forms the image whose size is comparable with the size of object. So from here, option B is correct, which shows that size of object is equal to size of image. Question number 24. An object is placed in front of the thin converging lens. The diagram shows the paths of the two rays from the top of the object. Here is the converging lens and there is the object that is placed on the left side. An image of the object is formed on the screen to the right of the lens. So its image is formed on the right side of the lens. How does this image compare with the object? So here we have to compare the image with the object. So first of all, I complete this diagram and see that either the image is smaller, larger or comparable in size to the object. Now I am going to use the ruler and complete this diagram. I just have to extend these rays to meet them at a point. I also extend the principal axis here, and the point where both of these rays intersect is actually the position of the image. So this is our image I. Now we can see that the size of image is larger as compared to size of object. We again have to use the ruler and measure the size of object and size of image. We observe that the size of image is larger as compared to size of object. So here MCQ is A. It is larger and inverted. It is correct that image is larger. What's about inverted image? We can see here that the object is in upward direction while the image is in downward direction. So this image is also inverted. So option A is correct. Other options are B. It is larger and the same way up. It is incorrect. It is smaller and inverted. It is not smaller. So it is also incorrect. D. It is smaller and the same way up. It is also incorrect because image is larger. Question number 25. Here are the three statements about the speed of the electromagnetic waves. 1. The speed of electromagnetic wave in vacuum is 340 meter per second. 2. The speed of electromagnetic waves in the vacuum is 3.0 into 10 to the power 8 meter per second. 3. The speed of an electromagnetic wave in the vacuum is approximately the same as in air. So first of all, here is the speed of electromagnetic waves and we have to answer that which statement is correct. MCQs A 1 and 3, B 1 only, C 2 and 3 and D 2 only. So here we can see that the electromagnetic waves travel in the vacuum with the speed of light, which is 3.0 into 10 to the power 8 meter per second. So second possibility is correct but not the first because here the speed of electromagnetic waves shown 340 meter per second, which is not correct. And the third possibility is that the speed of electromagnetic waves in the vacuum is approximately the same as that in air. So it is also correct. It means that 2 and 3 statement is correct and option C here, which shows 2 and 3. Question number 26. The sound from a loudspeaker must pass through the two materials to reach a microphone. Here is loudspeaker and it emits the sound that has to reach on the microphone. There are two materials, material 1 and material 2. Which combination of the materials gives the shortest time for the sound to reach the microphone? So here, which of the following take the shortest time? We know that the speed of sound in the solid is larger as compared to the speed of sound in the liquids and gases. I write here, speed in solid is larger as compared to speed in liquid, which is also greater than speed in gas. So option A, air and hydrogen. So it is incorrect. B, air and water. It is also incorrect. C, copper and aluminium. This is correct. Because when the speed of sound in the solid is very large as compared to liquid and gas, it means that the light passes very quickly. It takes very short time. It means that here option C is correct. Question number 27. Which method does not demagnetize a bar magnet? A. Heat the bar magnet and place it in the east-west direction to cool. B. Place the bar magnet in the east-west direction and hammer it. C. Place the bar magnet in the coil connected to an AC supply and slowly withdraw it. D. Place the bar magnet in a coil connected to DC supply and slowly withdraw it. So first of all, bar magnet is always magnetized and demagnetized only by the AC supply, not the DC supply. So here option D is incorrect. I tick here D because here we have to tick the incorrect statement. Which method is not demagnetize the bar magnet? So all of these methods are used for the demagnetization of the bar magnet except of D. Question number 28. 3 peels of small nails P, Q and R are placed on a bench below 3 electromagnets. One set of nails is made of copper, one of soft iron and one of steel. Diagram 1 shows the situation when the electromagnets are switched on. Diagram 2 shows the situation when the electromagnets are then switched off. Here is figure and we can see that there is P, Q and R. These are the nails that is made up of copper, iron and steel. So we have to identify that which one is copper, steel and iron. Here is diagram 1 when the switches are closed and diagram 2 shows that switches are open. Open means that there is no current passing through them, but closed means that when the current passing through this, then there will be the magnetization. So first of all, I write here copper, soft iron and steel. So soft iron is actually soft magnetic material and it can be magnetized and demagnetized. It can be magnetized when we pass the current. When we stop the current, there will be no magnetization. It is totally unmagnetized. So first of all, we see here when the switch is closed, in the P, the nails are on the surface, but nail Q and R are attached with the magnet. So iron is between Q and R. Next we check the other possibility when the switches are open. So when the switches are open, then what will happen? The nails Q are on the surface while R is still attached. It means that Q is soft iron. When we close the current through it, then these nails get unmagnetized and they fall on the bench. For the steel, when we pass the current, there will be magnetization similar to the soft iron, which is shown by the nail R. when the switches are closed. But here, when the switches are open, then the R is again attached with the bar magnet. It means that there has still magnetization when the current is not passing through it. So this is basically steel because it's a hard magnetic material. It can be magnetized even switch is open, and once magnetized it retain their alignment. So Q nails are soft iron and R is steel. Other one P is copper. Which row correctly identifies the materials from which the nails are made? Copper, soft iron and steel. So copper is P. Here P is written on the first row. Soft iron is Q. So Q is here and other is steel, which is R. So here option A is correct. Going towards the next question. Question number 29. A magnet is suspended by a cotton thread. The magnet is displaced then allowed to swing freely until it comes to rest. Why does the magnet always come to rest pointing in the same direction? Option A. Because of the interaction between the electric field of the magnet and the electric field of the earth. B. Because of the interaction between the electric field of the magnet and magnetic field of the earth. C. Because of the interaction between the magnetic field of the magnet and gravitational field of the earth. D. Because of the interaction between the magnetic field of the magnet and the magnetic field of the earth. So here first of all we have magnet. So there will be the magnetic field of the magnet, not the electric field or gravitational field. And when the magnet is displaced, then it swings freely until it comes to rest. So it is basically when there is the interaction between the magnetic field of the bar magnet and the magnetic field of the earth. So here option D is correct. Next question 30. A student rubs a plastic rod with a cloth. The rod becomes positively charged. What happens to the rod? A. It has gained electrons. B. It has gained protons. C. It has lost electrons. And D. It has lost protons. So first of all, a student rubs a plastic rod with the cloth. I suppose here is plastic rod. And here is any cloth like that. When the student rubs a plastic rod with the cloth, the rod becomes positively charged. What does this mean? It means that the rod has lost electron. When the electron from the rod is shifted towards the cloth, here is electrons. Then there will be the positive charge on the rod. It means that from here, option C is correct. Question number 31. An isolated metal sphere is positively charged. It is then brought near the another isolated metal sphere that is neutral. First of all, we have two metal spheres. One is positively charged while the other is neutral. What happens to the charges on the neutral surface as the positive charges What happens to the charges on the neutral sphere as the positively charged sphere is brought close to it? So first of all, when I push this positively charged sphere towards the neutral one, then what will happen? A. Some positive charges move to the left and some negative charges move to the right. B. Some positive charges move to the right and some negative charges move to the left. C. Some positive charges move to the right and negative charges do not move. D. The positive charges do not move but some negative charges move to the left. So which one of the following is correct? When the positively charged sphere come closer to the neutral one, then there will be the attraction between them. So on the left hand side, there will be negative charge. So there will be negative charge, but the positive charges do not move. So positive charges remain fixed at their positions. Here, option D is correct. Question number 32. Which circuit has a zero reading on ammeter? So here we have to show the circuit that which gives the zero reading on the ammeter. Ammeter is the device that is used for the measurement of current. It means that for which one of the circuit the current is zero. So first of all, here is A. We can see here that there are two batteries. This terminal is positive while the other is negative. A shows ammeter, and here this box is actually resistance. I represent it with R, and this is diode. The current only passes when the circuit is forward biased. It means that the positive terminal of the battery is attached with the positive side of the diode, and negative terminal of the battery is attached with the negative terminal of the diode. So this arrow is basically shows the positive side, while this line is basically shows the negative side. So we see here that this negative is attached directly with the negative terminal of the battery, and this positive side of the diode is attached with the positive terminal of the battery. It means that there is a current passing through this circuit. So here will be the reading on the ammeter. This is incorrect. We see the second circuit. Here this is positive negative, and it is again positive negative. Diode is, this line is negative and the whole arrow shows positive. So I write here positive. We can see from here that the negative side of the diode is attached with the negative terminal of the battery, while the positive side of the diode is attached with the positive terminal of the battery. So it is also forward biased. It is incorrect. Option C. So first of all, this is negative positive, positive negative, positive negative, positive negative. So the positive side of the diode is attached with the positive, and here the negative side of the diode is attached with the negative. So it is also forward biased current passing through the circuit, and ammeter shows reading. So it is also incorrect. And last option D. Here this is again positive negative. So here we can see that the positive terminal of the diode is attached with the negative terminal of the battery. So there will be no current passing through this circuit. Here the ammeter show zero reading, I is equal to 0. So here D option is correct. Question number 33. Two resistors whose resistance is 10 ohms are connected in series and parallel. What is the combined resistance in each case? So here we have to find out the combined resistance of the series and parallel resistances. So first of all, when the resistances are in series like that, the combined resistance are obtained by adding these individual resistance. So in the series circuit, resistance will be equal to 10 plus 10, which is equal to 20. And when these resistances are parallel, like this, so the total resistance is obtained by this formula. 1 over R is equal to 1 over R1 plus 1 over R2. So here 1 over r is equal to 1 over 10 plus 1 over 10. So 1 over r is equal to 2 over 10 and 1 over 5. From here r is equal to 5 ohms. So when the resistances are connected parallel, then the total resistance is 5 ohm, and when these are connected in series, the total resistance is 20 ohm. So here the MCQs are resistances in series and resistances in parallel. So first of all, when these are in series, 10 and 5, it is not correct. 10 and 10, it is also incorrect. 20 and 5. 20 is when both of these are series, and in parallel, it is 5. So this option is correct, which is C. Question number 34. The diagram shows a combination of 4 logic gates that produce an output signal at R. That depends on the states of the input P and Q. Which single logic gate produces the same effect as the combination? So first of all, here we put the inputs and see that what is the output. First of all, I consider that input is 0 and 1. So this is basically NOT gate. This is also NOT gate. I write here NOT. This is AND gate, and it's also again NOT. NOT gate changes 0 into 1 and 1 into 0. So when the input P is 0, it becomes 1, and when it is 1, it becomes 0. It means that 1 and 0 are the inputs of AND gate. There will be output 0 in the case of AND gate, because in the AND gate, when both of the inputs are high, the output will be high, otherwise it is low. So this 0 gain changes into 1, and R is equal to 1. It means that output is equal to 1. Now I changes another combination, which is 1 and 1. When the P is also 1 and Q is also 1, so when I apply NOT gate over it, it becomes 0 and 0. So there will be 0 and 0 that are the inputs of AND gate. So the output will be 0. This 0 changes into 1 when there is NOT gate. It means that this gives output 1. So this is basically the OR gate. In the OR gate, when any one of the input is high, the output will be high. So here I circle option D, which is OR gate. Question number 35. A solenoid is connected to a very sensitive emitter. A rod is inserted into one end of the solenoid. The emitter shows that there is a small electric current in the solenoid while the rod is moving. Which rod is being inserted? A. The heated copper rod. B. The magnetized steel rod. C. Uncharged nylon rod. And D. Radioactive uranium rod. So first of all, there is a current that is passing through the solenoid, and it is detected by the emitter that is attached here. It means that this rod is basically made up of the material which can be magnetized. So here option B is correct, a magnetized steel rod, because when this rod is magnetized and it is brought close to the solenoid, then the magnetic flux changes here, due to which there will be the induced EMF and there will be the current that is shown by the emitter. So option B is correct. Question number 36. The diagram shows a transformer. What is the output voltage? So here is a transformer. It has two coils, primary coil and secondary coil. The number of turns on primary coil is 550 and its voltage is 22,000 volt. The number of turns on the secondary is 115 and we have to find out its voltage. So first of all, I write here Ns over Np is equal to Vs over Vp. Here we have to find out the output voltage of the secondary coil. So Vs will be equal to Ns over Np multiplied by Vp, where the number of turns of secondary coil is 115 and for the primary coil it is 550 multiplied by Vp, which is 22,000. So that the output voltage will be equal to 4600 volt. So here option C is correct. Question number 37. Which row correctly states how nuclei behaves during nuclear fission and during nuclear fusion? So here are two phenomena, nuclear fission and nuclear fusion. Here is fission and here is fusion. A. Nuclei join together. Nuclei join together. So in fission, the nuclei split up while in the fusion nuclei join. So this option is incorrect because both are similar. B. Nuclei join together, because in the fission there is a breakup of the nucleus, so it is also incorrect. C. Nuclei split up, it is correct, and nuclei join together, it is also correct. So option C is correct. For option D, nuclei split apart and nuclei split apart, both of these are similar, so it is also incorrect. Question number 38. The charge on the proton is E. What is the charge on the electron and what is the charge on neutron? So first of all, we know that neutron is neutral, it has no charge. So charge on the neutron is equal to 0, while charge on the electron is opposite as that of the charge of proton. So I write here charge of electron is -1 because the proton has charge +1. So in this case, if the charge on the proton is E, then the charge on electron will be equal to -E. So here electron and the neutron are shown A, E and E. It is incorrect because neutron is neutral. B, E and 0. The charge on the electron is -E, so it is also incorrect. C, -E and -E. It is also incorrect. And D, -E and 0. So D option is correct here. Question number 39. Some radioactive nuclei decay to give new nuclei which are also radioactive. Part of the series of decay is shown. Here is uranium, then again TH, Pa, uranium, TH and Ra. How many decays involve the emission of beta particle? So beta particle are just like electron with atomic number -1 and mass number 0. In the beta particle, when an element undergoes beta emission, then there will be increase in the atomic number by the factor of 1. So first of all, we can see here when uranium changes into TH, the atomic number, first of all it is 92 and then it is 90. So there is a decrease of 2 factor which is not beta particle. So first of all, here is no beta particle. When TH changes into Pa, so first of all the atomic number is 90 and then it becomes 91. It means that the atomic number increased by 1. There is the beta particle. So I write here 1. When Pa changes into U, that is uranium, first of all atomic number is 91 and it becomes 92. There is also the increase of atomic number by the factor of 1. So it is also beta particle. When uranium changes into TH again, the atomic number is 92 and it becomes 90. So there is no beta particle. And in the last one, 90 changes into 88. There is the decrease of atomic number by the factor of 2. So it is also not beta particle. So here are 2 beta particles, this one and this 2. So I tick here option B because there are emission of 2 beta particles. Question number 40. The graph shows the activity of the radioactive source over a period of time. Here is activity, which is count per second, and time, which is measured in minutes. What is the half-life of the source? Here we have to find out the half-life. A, 1.0 minute, B, 2.0 minute, C, 2.5 minute, and D, 4.0 minutes. So here we have to find out the half-life. Half-life is the time during which the count rates remain half. So first of all, I suppose that initially when t is equal to 0, then the count rates are 120. When the first half-life pass, then count rate reduces and it will be equal to 60. So here 60 is at this point, and I join this point with the time axis to find out time. Here time is 2. It means that the half-life of the source is equal to 2.0 minutes. So option B is correct from here.